Hey, everybody. I want to welcome a new and very special guest. Today we've got Halston. Halston, welcome to the show.
Yeah, glad to be here.
Halston has done something very interesting. Not only has he hacked most of his way through his bachelor's degree, and he's very close to graduating, but he's also already started his master's in a way that I did not know was possible. So, Halston, let's talk about college and how you've done all the incredible things that you've done.
I did 24 credits back in 2013, a few years after I graduated high school. I had
Okay.
some concurrent enrollment my senior year of high school. And then once I got to the 24 credits, I also was like done with school. So I was just
Okay.
like, yeah, I think I just got overexposed to or an overexposure to just doing school for 15 years since
Right.
preschool. And like a lot of people, I just felt a little bit of burnout. So, and also I went to pursue sales for me.
Yeah. Okay. And why did you go to college at that point in the first place? Like you were feeling kind of burnt out and yet you still went to college. What influenced you to do that?
Yeah. So, like a lot of high school students that do concurrent enrollment, it was just more of like going through the motions of this is something that we're presented as a society of this is what you need to go do. You need to go to college right after high school. And while you're in high school, in one sense, it's like you're trying to hack getting your first part of your
Yeah.
undergraduates
Doing like
done.
dual enrollment and AP credits and things like that. I think it's a story that happens to a lot of people. You're doing school, you're doing work at the same time. Work is making you money, school is not. Work is interesting, school is boring. Does that sound anything like your experience at that point?
Oh yeah, and I think really it I was in a state and a place where I was just tired of it, and I wanted to really go see what life was like and see what having a full time job and kind of going out on my own was like. And for me in that season, I just didn't feel like continuing towards a bachelor's was what I wanted to do at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now fast forward to today and you said the operations manager at a cabinet installation and building company, basically?
Yeah, so I run production and quality assurance of both residential and commercial grade
Hmm.
cabinets. These are things that you see like at a dental office or a health clinic or a hospital, but also in someone's home, kitchen
Yeah.
cabinets, that sort of thing.
So obviously you've had some success there. So I'm sure there a couple promotions went into all of this. What made you want to go back and get a bachelor's degree at this point?
I felt just a shift in what type of impact that I want to have
Hmm.
on this world. And for me, growing up in a Christian household and being in church, I had never quite felt a call to ministry. But about 2 years ago, I was really kind of wrestling with that idea of what ultimately do I want to do and what kind of impact do I want to have. So for me, I really felt a call to ministry, but specifically as a chaplain.
Hmm.
And there's many different forms of that. Sometimes you'll see a chaplain with, for example, with first responders, with police, fire, EMS, or perhaps in a prison.
Hmm.
But most people are going to see a chaplain like in a hospital, and that is kind of the direction there where I felt like I was led.
So you're thinking about that, and obviously that's the kind of degree where you need to have like a ministry, like a master's level ministry or divinity or theology degree. So you've got to get a bachelor's degree. You've got those 24 credits lined up in the back. What made you decide to hack part of your degree?
So I was really trying to see what is required, what does it take to get where I would like to be, where I would want to go at some point in my life. Well, it does take a master's degree in theology or religion or some equivalent form at a master's level. It also does take a undergraduate's, a bachelor's as well. It also requires some clinical units that need to be logged for a ministry in a clinical setting. And for hospital chaplains, there's a board certification body. So there's a
Mm.
lot of steps, a barrier to entry to do that line of work. And I was thinking there, man, I just have 24 undergraduate credits. That's going to be so difficult. So what do people do when they're looking for information? They go to Google or YouTube, and that is where I came across College Hacked, and I started looking at the content that you have, and it just really had me pause there for a second. I was like, let me get this straight. I can hack my undergraduate's degree, and even if to some degree, I can hack my master's as well. And that's not saying that I have like some bad motive, but rather it's a way that I can save costs as far as tuition and get into a competency based program to where you can go at your own pace. And also, I guess, save time and money. And I never thought about it in that way before. So
yeah, because you're basically proving that you have the information or that you're able to go and get the information, which what is, the modern state of college, if not that, proving that you can go and learn information. Here we are proving it. So yeah, it works out. And like you said, cheaper and quicker. And now I think you're at 102 credits done so far. And you're doing that Bachelor's of Science in Psychology at Liberty University. I'll just give people the exact numbers here. Halston is coming in with 24 existing credits from a previous college, 21 credits from study.com, and 45 credits from Sophia. Obviously, for anybody who doesn't know, those are third-party course providers where, a school will look at these courses that Sophia and study.com provide, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, that's pretty tough. We'll let that count as our class over here. So basically, you did that for 40 or 66 different credits. But there's also something else here that's really interesting, and that's that you've earned 9 credits through LUO portfolio submissions. Can you tell us a little bit about what those are?
Yeah. At Liberty University, they have something for previous experience or certification, or it could even be years that you've had in a certain role where you work, but it is their Experience Plus. And the portfolio is a method in which, and it's different for the class that you want to try to get an equivalency for. But let's say for me, for my bachelor's in psychology, I had some crisis counseling electives. I already had some certifications from being a volunteer chaplain for first responders of how to assist individuals in crisis or groups of people in crisis. And I sent those certifications in, and they also required some essay prompts and a response. And if you do well enough, they will give you college credit, an equivalency, what they call a PLA credit for what you already know.
Yeah. And I actually did something similar for my PhD at Liberty, where I earned 14 credits doing the exact same thing you just described. And I think these days it costs like a little bit more than $100 per examination, maybe like 120 or something like that. I don't know how much you paid, but it's kind of in that 100 to 130 range. Yeah. And a lot of schools actually have something like this. Sometimes it's a little more structured, where you log into, you pay to go into a class, and it's a 1 credit class, and they teach you how to build a portfolio. And at the end of the class, they assess the portfolio you've built. And then they tell you, oh yeah, we're going to give you 6 more credits for this or whatever. And then there are schools like Liberty where you're targeting something very, very specific. And they say, well, you need to prove that you know this. And so here's like 3 things you need to do. And then they assess it. They have like some professor in a dark room somewhere looking over all of these, deciding, if you get college credit or not. And you ended up with 9 credits through the system. So, I mean, you transferred in a ton of credits. Like, what is that up to? That's like 45, 54 plus 45. I mean, over the 90 credit minimum, which means you just need 30 credits from Liberty. How far are you into the actual Liberty part of this psychology degree?
Oh, that's a great question. So in about, let's see, today's, I think the 16th or the 17th, I forget which day, but my classes will open up on the Canvas platform on the 20th. Okay. So even though I'm accepted, I haven't started the remainder of my 30 credits for the undergraduate.
How many classes are you planning to take at a time?
This first semester, I'm just going to take 3. Okay. So that would be 9. But after that, for the next 2 semesters, I will be taking 4 classes a semester. So that should have it to where I'm going to finish the bachelor's at the end of the summer of 2024.
Okay. I don't know if you can hear the giant jet plane flying over my house right now, but in spite of that, I will say that's awesome. And that's a great target to hit. And I'm absolutely certain that you can. I like to estimate to people typically that an average LUO class will take about 10 hours of homework a week per class. Some weeks it's less, some weeks it's more. Some classes are easier. Very few classes are harder than that. I mean, you're going to be busy, but I'm 100% confident you can do it. something that we were just talking about before we got on that I think is very interesting in your situation is that you've actually already been accepted into a master's program despite not having your bachelor's left or finished. What's the strategy here? What's going on? How did you finagle this?
Yeah, so I think there is an assumption, or just generally speaking, it is true that you normally can't get into a master's program without having a bachelor's, but that isn't always the case. Depending on the institution, they will have at least they will allow you entry into the program if you have, at some places it's 60, other it's 72 undergraduate credits, somewhere in that range, and they will accept you into their program for the first semester at a more of a cautionary, like an academic probation basis or something along those lines, where they're just trying to see if you can write, think, and research at a graduate level.
Gotcha. So it sounds like basically while you were waiting for Liberty to accept you and get you started, you're like, hey, why don't I just go ahead and start taking some grad level classes at this other school?
Yeah, so I'm currently enrolled in a Master of Divinity at Grace College and Theological Seminary.
Okay.
And they have a competency-based program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering why we were kind of bothering with it, but now I get it. Okay.
So what that is, for those that aren't familiar with competency-based education, is that allows someone to go at their own pace. So it is kind of like a block tuition cost, where think of it like a subscription. You're paying X amount for tuition, and you can go at whatever speed. You could take 3 credits, or you could take 15 credits a semester. Obviously, if you take 3 credits, you're going to be paying a lot more than
per credit.
Yeah, per credit. But you can, to some degree, hack your costs and the speed at which you move.
Okay, so like, we've mentioned before, and like some people on the channel know, Liberty's master's level degrees now will let you transfer in up to half of the degree. So right. You are, while waiting for Liberty to let you finish your psychology degree, knocking out a few competency-based credits at this other place that I am assuming you've confirmed will transfer over to Liberty.
Yes.
So they'll transfer. You've got those. And then I think you'd also mentioned you've actually done some prior learning assessment portfolio credit for the master's level too at Liberty.
That's right. And I don't know if this is something that if this is like a loophole or something. I don't know. But I will say that I've done the same experience plus portfolio process for graduate level classes, even though I'm not yet accepted into the graduate program. If you will check the degree completion plan, you can see which classes that you have and what you're wanting to pursue. You can then go look at the classes which you can do a portfolio for, and you can do the writing, do the research, look at the prompts. On some of these classes, you can look at the course guide and see what their learning resources are, like what books are in the class, and do a little research and see if you can get credit for those. So far, I have 12 graduate credits through PLA, through the portfolio submission process.
Wow. And how many are you going to bring over from Grace?
Once this semester is over, which is I will have 10. So I'll add 10 on top of the 12. Okay.
So 22, and the Masters of Divinity at Liberty is 60, or is it 90?
It is a 75.
75.
Yeah, there are some that are highly concentrated, and then they're like at 93. Yeah. But that's in like very specialized settings.
I think you picked the right. I think you made the right decision by going for 75. 75 is a lot for a master's. Most master's degree, for anybody who doesn't know, are 36 credit hours, not 75. But Divinity, they expect a lot out of their Divinity students. It can be very challenging. So yeah, so just to kind of make sure I'm on the same page as you here, you've got 12 credits from PLA for your master's. You've got 10 credits you're transferring in over from Grace. So you'll end up with 22 credits, a third of your Master's of Divinity already done. And as soon as you finish the psychology degree, you'll just hop straight into those. And do you have a target for when you'll finish the master's degree?
I do. So somewhere between a year and a half to 2 years from now,
Okay.
that will be the estimated completion. It really kind of depends on what does the workload look like per semester. So that's why I'm giving like a 6 month like tolerance there.
That's good. Yeah.
But should be in 2025, or sorry, should be early 2026 to summer of 2026.
Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Well, man, this is mastermind level stuff. I mean, you're hacking in ways that most people haven't ever even dreamed of, and that's saying a lot for college hackers, because college hackers, we dream about a lot of possibilities and come up with a lot of stuff. So good on you for knocking that out. The appetite for work that you have, trying to do 3-4 classes at a time per term, is phenomenal. And I just wish you all the best going forward. If you had to give everybody else watching a final piece of advice or a word of wisdom about, getting their degree, what would you say?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it really comes down to two things. One of them is going to be don't let what society presumes to be true be the thing that dictates your life. And what I mean by that is just because the traditional norm for a bachelor's degree is $40,000 to $50,000. Don't let that idea, that notion, be the path that you pursue when there are other ways to do it. Specifically on, I would really look at Sophia. Like for me, it was 45 of my undergraduate credits. It
Yeah.
does depend on where you're going, but I definitely think that is a great way to have an alternative option for undergraduate credits.
That's awesome. Well, hey, thanks so much for being on, Halston. We appreciate it. We wish you all the best.
Yeah, it was really cool to be on here.